Super Rugby Week 14 has come and gone. The self-proclaimed two wise men, Garen and Rob, are joining me in studio to chat about their predictions. Now, I can see, Rob, that you beat Garen this weekend because Garen has some chocolate beside him for me.
He does. It was nice that somebody else had to buy the chocolate for a change. It wasn't. I wouldn't proclaim it as a total triumph because I called 3 from 6, so I only got a 50% strike rate. But Garen's strike rate was even more sorry than mine. So hence him having to cough up for the chocolate. I'm afraid it was a hollow win.
All right, well, let's go through these South African games. Garen, I'm going to read you a tweet from Front Row Grunt. This is for the Crusaders versus the Sharks game. Can just imagine judicial officers licking his lips. South Africans stomping on a head that could be months out the game. Why don't you tell me what he's talking about?
Correct. Hi, Jen. Tank Lanning, who writes this Front Row Grunt, is referring to the Jean Dijssel stomping incident, which took place in the 16th minute of that match. He was shown a straight red card. We're still waiting to hear exactly how long he's going to be banned for, but I expect it to be a lengthy ban, maybe even months, as Tank mentions there. So that was the one ugly aspect of that game. But it was an incredible game, difficult to even know where to start when dissecting the match. The Sharks headed into the match as underdogs, taking place in Christchurch. No South African team has won there since, I think, 2001. The Sharks have never, ever won there. So they were down to 14 men after 16 minutes. They had another yellow card later in the game, so they were down to 13 men for that period. Yet they still won, which is quite unbelievable. We've seen in the past that just 10-minute spells have cost teams matches. To be down to 14 men for 64 minutes is quite remarkable.
Wow.
I think the Crusaders are sitting this morning wondering how exactly they managed to lose that game, but they managed a bonus point in the end, which at some point I didn't even think they would get. So hats off to the Sharks, fantastic victory. That's their second out of their 3 matches on tour. They have strengthened their lead atop the South African conference. They've moved further ahead in the overall conference. So things really looking good as they prepare for their final match against the Blues next weekend. So hats off to Jake White's men. Their defense was unbelievable on the day. They managed to score 3 tries. They really, really looked good. I think this will be the defining moment of their season. I expect them to go on from now. One more match, then back in South Africa to at least finish in the top 2 positions, which we've seen in the past is crucial to getting a home final. You need that home semi-final. It's difficult to travel back and forth between the countries and win. So great stuff from the Sharks. Got South Africa off to a winning start this weekend.
Woo! Rob, what was your take on the game?
Yeah, it was certainly one of the highlights of the South African Super Rugby season so far, and there haven't been too many, as we all know. I think everybody, not just in KZN, but everywhere in the country, if they have a sort of fairly neutral sort of stance on these things, and not everybody does, but I think generally speaking, people would have really taken their hats off to the Sharks. To actually produce that was a monumental effort. The one little thing you think is they put in such a busy shift, such a heroic shift against the Crusaders. Can they now get up 6 days later to play again against the Blues? But having said that, they've now got momentum on their side. They've suddenly recaptured their, I wouldn't say sparkle necessarily, Garen, because it wasn't that sort of game. But nevertheless, definitely a conviction. They've definitely got their mojo back in terms of their sort of emotional makeup. I think they'll feel now that they really are in the driving seat for a home semi-final, which is still vital. And the Crusaders will be absolutely shell-shocked after that because that's done their own chances of getting a home semi-final a lot of harm. I think they'd had 5 wins on the trot, hadn't they, Garen, before going into this game. So, they were the favourites going into the match. History pointed heavily against the Sharks, and yet they pulled it off. So even if South Africa's whole season ends up being pretty ordinary, and let's hope it's not, but we will all look back on that moment as a really fantastic one for South African rugby.
Well, great start for the Sharks this weekend. Bad start for both of you because I think you both bet against them.
Correct.
Sorry to rub it in.
Hence the